I'm here with Caroline talking about the unemployment report. The unemployment rate is at 9.1% this month, and underemployment is at 16.5%. What do you think about these unemployment numbers?
I think they're pretty low, and I think they should give more people jobs, so then like the economy will grow and stuff. So.
Okay. Oil states such as Texas and North Dakota have unemployment rates that are half to one-third less than the national average. Employers in this state have a hard time finding qualified workers. What could be done to get people into the manufacturing industry?
Maybe like if they had more like training and stuff, and places where they can learn to do more stuff, and maybe they can like do like more jobs, and they can hire more people, and then like they would have more people working, and it'd be like better for other people.
Okay. And the government gave guaranteed loans to the solar industry, yet a lot of the solar industry companies that recently got loans went bankrupt. And so the oil industry is also struggling. Should the government be in business of deciding which companies receive taxpayer dollars? Do you think that they should go to solar companies or oil companies? Do you think the oil companies would do the same thing solar companies did and go broke if they were given money?
Well, I think they should give more money to solar. And well, like I think they're struggling with oil right now or something, so maybe they should like maybe like change their plans and try something new, and maybe they can like make it better instead of having to do the same thing over again.
Okay. Do you have anything else you'd like to say about unemployment to our viewers at home?
Just try to keep finding a job, and maybe you'll find one that fits you right.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Here I am, Rebecca, on Wall Street, talking with, what's your name?
A1.
A1, okay. Here I am, Rebecca, on Wall Street, talking with A1. A1, the unemployment rate is at 9.1%, and the underemployment rate is at 16.5%. What do you think about those numbers?
Well, I hope they're going down.
Oil states such as Texas and North Dakota have unemployment rates that are half to one-third as less than the national average. Employers in these states are having a hard time finding qualified manufacturing workers. What can be done to get more people into the manufacturing industry?
I really don't know.
Yeah? What about you?
I don't know, you might give a bark.
Do you have a job?
Yeah, he's actually a stay-at-home dog.
Oh, sounds like a busy job. Hard work, huh?
I wish I had his life.
The government guaranteed loans to the solar industry, and these companies have gone bankrupt months later. Yet the oil industry has received no such loans. Do you believe that the oil industry would do the same thing as the solar industry, or should the government not be giving taxpayer dollars to anyone?
They probably do the same.
Really?
That's what I think.
What do you think the government should be doing with his money?
I really don't know. It's hard to say.
Maybe pampering pooches?
Yeah.
Here I am on Wall Street talking with George about the unemployment situation. The unemployment rate is currently at 9.1%, and underemployment is at 16.5%. What do you think about those numbers?
They're high, too high. More people should be employed.
Oil states such as Texas and North Dakota have unemployment rates that are half to one less than the national average. Employers in these states are having a hard time finding qualified manufacturing workers. What can be done to get more people into these industries?
Well, people migrate to those states a lot of times. Because that's where the jobs are. They move where the jobs are. They don't go where the jobs aren't, but I did that because I figured there's always work.
So the government gave guaranteed loans to the solar industry, and these companies have gone bankrupt months later. And yet oil industries received no such loans and are struggling to find employees. Do you believe that the oil industries would do the same thing that the solar industry would do and go bankrupt? Or do you think the government should be actually in the business of deciding who gets your taxpayer dollars?
I don't think the government should be in charge of giving the taxpayer, taking control of the taxpayer. Look what they do with it. The federal government's the one that prints the money. And that's why the money's not worth anything.
Do you have any other comments you'd like to say to people at home about the current unemployment situation?
Well, they should go to work. If that's an answer, they should go to work.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for talking with us.
Okay, have a nice day.
You too. Hi, this is Rebecca on Wall Street on Wall Street. I'm here talking with Vince about the unemployment report. The unemployment rate is currently at 9.1% and underemployment is at 16.5%. What do you think about these numbers?
Honestly, it doesn't make no sense. I mean, being in America, having our own printers, I mean, shoot, they're just putting us where we want us. I mean, they can print all the money they want to. They're just gonna be, they're just not doing it. That's it.
Can we take a step forward?
Do it again?
If you want, because we had the bus.
Okay, so what do you think about these numbers?
Well, honestly, it doesn't make sense because, I mean, we got printers all over the place. I mean, we make our own money. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. They're just putting us where they want us.
Oil states such as Texas and North Dakota have unemployment rates that are half to 1/3 less than the national average. Yet employers in these states are having a hard time finding qualified workers. What can be done to get more people into the manufacturing industry?
Start giving them jobs. They always talking about they're taking interviews and all the things, and they never call anybody. They just want to keep the budget the way they are, where they're at, for they can keep all their money in their pocket. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
The government gave loans to the solar industry, but these companies went bankrupt months later, and the oil industry hasn't received this money yet. Do you believe that the government should be giving money to any of these companies from our tax money, or do you think that like oil is going to do the same thing as solar?
I mean, oil is definitely going to do the same. Or if solar does that, I mean, oil is going to do it too, because those are the main two things, you know, that we really need. So it's definitely going to do it, you know, go out. It's going to go out like lights.
What advice do you have people at home watching and thinking about getting a job and wanting to know what can be done about unemployment in the United States?
I mean, where I was from, being in Chicago, my mother always told me, if you can't find a job, just make a job. And, I mean, that's the best, you know, advice I can give anybody.
All right, well, thank you very much. The unemployment rate is at 9.1% and underemployment rate is at 16.5%. What do you think about these numbers?
Well, the street for this particular report, it was actually a better than expected report. People were expecting unemployment to creep up to 9.2%. And the fact that it's steady, it's actually kind of good, because we are seeing hiring in the civilian labor force. There is quite a demand for manufacturing workers. It's just that the government workers, because they can't balance their deficits, they're losing a lot of government jobs. So that's why we more or less staying steady, even though we've had hiring in some industries.
States such as Texas and North Dakota have unemployment rates that are half to 1/3 less than the national average. Employers in these states are having a hard time finding qualified workers. What could be done to help people in manufacturing industries?
Well, there's a certain cultural stereotype against people with blue-collar jobs, so we need to work on something. We've been saying for years that we need to bring more manufacturing back to this country and not outsourcing, but there's a lack of trade school education in this country, and people, you know, kind of look down upon manufacturing. So we need to bring back the pride of the American manufacturing worker and encourage people to become manufacturers.
The government has guaranteed loans to the solar industry.
Let's wait for the pass and they'll do it.
The government has guaranteed loans to the solar industry, and these companies have gone bankrupt months later.
You're seeing me telling you to keep the thing out of the shop.
Yet the oil industry received no such the government has guaranteed loans to the solar industry, and these companies have gone bankrupt months later. And yet oil industry received no such loans and is struggling to find employees. Should the government be in the business of deciding which companies receive taxpayer dollars?
You got cars, you got noise. You
I know, it's terrible. The government gave guaranteed loans to the solar industries, and these companies have gone bankrupt months later. And yet the oil industry received no such loans and is struggling to find employees. Should the government be in the business of deciding which companies receive taxpayer dollars?
I'd probably say no, because I mean, if the government was so smart on allocating their money, the government wouldn't have this huge budget deficit. in all this trouble balancing their budgets and going bankrupt in various states. I mean, a lot of state and local governments are shutting down because they can't manage their funding. So why do we think the government is smart enough to decide which businesses should survive? I mean, they're giving millions and millions and millions of dollars to the solar industry, and that entire industry, you know, many of those companies are failing in that industry. Yet they're not giving money where it's needed in the oil industry, and the oil industry is having trouble getting qualified workers in their industry. And then they're taxing the oil industry and vilifying the oil industry when the oil industry needs workers and they're trying to hire. If the government just stayed out of it altogether and let private industry do its thing, we'd probably be a lot better off.
Do you have anything else you'd like to say about unemployment to our viewers at home?
Something needs to be done about this whole real estate mess, because workforce mobility is an important issue, and if people could get out of the homes that they're stuck in and be able to migrate to like states like North Dakota and Texas, we'd be able to solve a lot of this problem. So we got to solve this real estate problem that we're in.
Thank you.